This presentation will be about how to submit an online reimbursement request or report for your open grant. First off, you'll need to sign into your account, and on the main menu, you will click on Project. This will show you any projects that you have access to submit reports and reimbursement requests to. So I have access to this one, and the first thing you'll do is click on the Financial tab. Always highlight your contract blue, and then you can go down to the Reports and Payments section. This will show you the expiration date, the grant award amount, and your current balance. So this is very helpful if you're not sure how much you have remaining on the grant, so that you don't go into your 5% retainage. As a reminder, you have to keep 5% available until the grant is, or the project is completely finished and you submit your final report. Now, right here, you'll see this little Add Report button. For some reason, this is not highlighted blue. That means that you have a pending report or reimbursement request already. You are not able to submit a new report or request until the previous one has been processed. So, for example, if you submitted one reimbursement request and 2 or 3 days later you receive another large invoice that you want to request reimbursement for, you won't be able to do that until the previous one has been processed. So, something to keep in mind. If you have low cash flow, always make sure that you can get one in before another large invoice is coming in. So once you're ready and have your RFR form that's been completed and signed by either the responsible administrator listed on the contract or your chief elected official, all of your invoices that are eligible for reimbursement, and proof of payment for any of those, then you can go ahead and hit your Add Report button. Now, of course, you'll want to make sure all of those invoices, proof of payment, and RFR form are in PDF format. So for this example, we are going to use the first period of 2020. So that is January 1st through March 31st. Now, one thing to keep in mind here is, although we require you to submit reports at least once a quarter, if something has happened and you've been in contact with us and you've missed your previous quarter's report, you can put 2 in at the same time. So let's say there was a situation that happened and you were unable to submit your 4th quarter report for 2019. That quarter is October 1st through December 31st. So up here in the start date, you could put October 1st, 2019 through this end date of March 31st, 2020. And that would cover 2 periods at a time. And we recommend doing that if you are behind by a period, because like I said previously, you can't submit one until the previous one has been completed through all the approval level. So this is a great way to just do it all in one shot, and you don't have to submit one, wait, and then come back and submit the other. Now, the next question here is this a final request for your current contract? Most of the time, it's going to be no, so you'll just leave it as is. You would only put yes if your project is fully completed, all invoices have come in and been paid, and you're ready to close out your grant. Very important to note that you do not want to hit yes on there if you're unsure if all the invoices have come in, because once you have submitted a final payment, your grant is closed. You cannot go back in and submit another reimbursement request if there's a balance remaining. So we'll leave that as no for this one. And here you have to put in your report, regardless of if it's just a report or if you're requesting a reimbursement, you always have to put in some report for the activities that have happened in the last period. So we will just say construction is 8% complete. Now, most of them will have more details than that. You can state you're waiting on final inspection, or If you're working on a plan, you're about to start the public engagement process, wherever you are in your project is what you're going to put there. Now, if you were only doing a report, you're not requesting any reimbursement, you would go ahead and hit support or submit report now. That will just submit your narrative and the period, and you're good to go. However, if you have invoices that you have paid and need reimbursement on, we are going to go to this step, which is add. Now, this is where you're going to put the service start date and end date again. So we're going to put January 1st, 2020 through March 31st, 2020. Now, what we are recommending is that you put in your total invoices here. That way you don't have to put in a different expenditure line for every invoice you have. Some projects will have 15 or 20 invoices, and that's a lot of work. So we're going to say that the invoices for this period totaled $100,000. And here you're going to select your budget line item. Now, this particular project only has one budget line item. It shows the current balance. Some projects will have 2 or 3. So for example, if it had construction and engineering, then you would have to put in more than one expenditure. So you would do this one for construction, go back in, add another expenditure for your cost of your engineering. And of course, at any time when you're working on this, if you're unsure and have questions, please reach out to a regional assistant. We are here to help you at any time. So we're going to say that this is a 50% reimbursement grant. All of that information is in your budget on Exhibit B of your contract. So 50% reimbursement on $100,000 total would be $50,000, which means the amount to be paid by grantee cash or matching funds would be $50,000. Most of the time, you will not have something here for the amount to be paid with other cash. Very few contracts have that, but if you are unsure, of course, contact your regional assistant. And this is where you would have to list what that other cash was. Let's say it came from a CDPHE loan or something like that. Now, anytime you submit an expenditure, you will need to upload the documentation for that. So that is that completed and signed RFR form, all invoices, and proof of payment for everything. So we'll go ahead and we'll just pick any document here. Open, it'll show you right here that it has uploaded, and you'll hit save. And there it shows total invoice amount requested, $50,000. Now, one thing that is important to note when you have uploaded documentation on your expenditure line, if you realize after you've uploaded it that you missed something, like say an invoice, if you go to then add that invoice here, which you can go in by editing if you've made any mistake, you will lose what you previously uploaded. It kicks it out and replaces it with a new item. So you either need to make a new PDF where you're adding that document, everything, and re-upload it, or you can go to this Documents tab and upload the missing invoice proof of payment here. This Documents tab is also where you'd want to upload anything that isn't pertaining to the reimbursement itself, such as a project timeline, or if you want to submit some project photos to show progress, or also a completed study or plan, if that is one of your deliverables that on your final payment you have to upload the completed plan. This is where you would want to upload that. So going back to here, we've put in everything that we need. Now, if you are unsure or maybe you're missing something and you want to come back to it, you would hit save and close. However, if you are ready, you have everything ready to go, you can go ahead and submit report. Now, this will give you the summary of everything you have in here. In order to submit, you have to click that you certify that this report is correct and all expenditures were made in accordance with the grant contract agreements, and then you would hit submit. Now let's say you realized, oops, I messed something up. You'll hit previous, brings you back to the screen. Go to the pencil mark to make your edits. Or if something is terribly wrong and you just want to start from scratch, you can go ahead and hit that trash button. It'll say, are you sure? And you hit yes. So it has saved everything else on here, just remove that expenditure line. So since I don't want to submit this, since we're just running a test, I'm going to hit save and close. If you were submitting for reimbursement, you would go ahead and hit submit. Now, as you can see here, that little add a report button is no longer showing. That's because we have a pending report. And you can see that here, it says reimbursement request partially complete. Now, if you wanted to go back in and edit it, you'll just hit this little button, update quarterly report. This little print details, we'll just print it off in PDF format or to your printer that gives you all the information. This allows you to just view what you've put in there. You can go in and go, oh, that's right, I put that information in, but I have to put in the expenditure line. And then if you're like, nope, I want to scrap the whole thing and start fresh, you'll go ahead and click there to remove the quarterly report information. Now, at any time, if you're questioning what's the status of a report or reimbursement that you submitted, you can come down here and it'll show, normally it would say pending. So you can see right here, reimbursement request has been processed. You can click on the view details and it'll show, okay, review history. You can see it was submitted on March 25th, approved at level 1 on the 25th, level 2 on the 26th, and then these are some of our staff in Denver who approve it. The DA approved is the final level. Now, going down, this is an example of a reimbursement request that had some issues. Whenever that happens, it gets suspended back to the grantee. So you would get an email saying your reimbursement request has been suspended, and it would have one of these notes here saying, invoice, whatever the issue is, please have the mayor sign the RFR form and resubmit. So if you get that, you would come in here, you would hit that edit sign and put whatever information there is requested of you in there. Like, let's say you needed to upload a missing invoice, you would want to go in, hit edit, and what I recommend is going to that documents tab and loading it there, so that way you don't miss any of the information or lose any of that information that you have already uploaded. We're going to go back. Now, another place that you can look on here is, or that you'll notice on here, excuse me, is reimbursement request process. Now, that typically means that it has been processed in the approval level, but that does not mean the date that you receive your check. So for this one, we'll go back in and take a look at review history. It shows that the final level approval happened March 27th. That's not the day that you actually have your payment issued. Typically, it is anywhere from 1 to 2 weeks after that date when you will finally receive your payment, whether it's through electronic funds transfer or through a check in the mail. If you looked at it and say, hey, this person approved it at the division approved level, it's been a couple weeks and I still haven't seen my payment, reach out to your regional assistant and we will be able to look into it to see where it's at, because we have to contact our accounting department. But this is a nice way if you're ever curious and saying, I don't really want to send an email to DOLA, but I'd like to see where it's at. This is where you can find that. So going back to, we'll hop back in this one. Oops. Edit that. So let's say this was a final and you've gone to submit. It's going to ask you these additional questions. Is it substantially complete? Have all of your deliverables been met? Again, those are located on Exhibit B of your contract. Now, we'll say this project came under budget and you were deobligating the remaining balance. You would have to check this box confirming, and this is very helpful because let's say you've been keeping track of records and you say, wait a minute, we're not deobligating $84,392.12. It should only be $50,000. You definitely want to hit cancel, and then you'll go back, look at your previous reimbursement requests, any invoices you have to see what's missing. And again, feel free to reach out to your regional assistant and they can help see what's been submitted and what hasn't. And I'll go back and show you that as well. But let's say you go, yeah, you look, yep, everything's right. You would check all of these boxes and hit continue. I'm not going to do that here because I don't want to accidentally close out this report. It's very important that you know that you have all of your invoices that are eligible for reimbursement submitted and taken care of before you submit a final request. The reason being is that once you hit a final request, your grant is closed. So if you deobligated, let's say $5,000 and then discovered an eligible invoice, it's too late. We can't then go back in and get you reimbursement for that eligible invoice. So always important to make sure you have everything before you close out your grant. I'm going to go ahead and hit cancel here. Now let's say you had submitted one of your interim reports and suddenly realized, oh shoot, I forgot to upload this. I hit submit already. Once you've hit submit, you can't go back and edit. So you would need to contact your regional assistant. We can then suspend it back to you so that it'll show up here for you to edit. If it's been submitted, it'll just look like this. You can't go ahead and edit. This little pencil will be gone. So if you go, whoops, right after you've submitted, realize there's something that you need to add on there or change, contact your regional assistant. Now that should cover most of your information. You have your budget information up here, shows what line items that you have. All of your report information will always be here. Again, if that button does not show up, that means something's pending, so you don't have access to submit a new report. And I'm going to show you if you started like this one that we started, I don't actually want to submit it. If you have something like that where you just want to start from scratch, you can go ahead right here, remove. It's going to make sure, are you sure? Yep, and boom, it is gone. Now it looks like all of them disappeared, but that's just because the contract is no longer selected. So you want to hit blue and there you go. It shows everything that's been processed to date. Anything you want to look at and say, well, when did this get done? You can look at the review history and it'll show when it was originally filed by you or someone else in your organization, all the levels of acceptance, and that'll help you keep track of when things were done. Let's say you also wanted to go back and you can't remember what invoices have been submitted on your previous report. You can click here. Not only do you see all of the amounts, but you click download and that will show everything that you had uploaded for this request. Same thing here, like there's some information there that they uploaded. So you can just hit download and everything will be there, which is really helpful for record keeping, just in case you had some staff changing and you're not sure where your paper files went, you can always find it in here. And if you're having trouble finding something, please reach out to your regional assistant and they will help you either find it in here or let you know if something's missing. So thank you very much for listening to this recorded webinar on reimbursement requests. And as always, please feel free to reach out to us with questions at any time. We're happy to help.